Are Vici Gaming going to Worlds? Probably not. Are Snake going to Worlds? Probably not. Are they going to MSI? Probably not as well. However, we do know that Vici are making a damn good showing here to make the LPL look even more stacked than it currently is. My name's Shaker Eric Suzzy-Peko. This is Brento Raz Muhammad, and I think that resonated with you in somewhat.
I feel like you should just be a promoter, a boxing promoter.
Oh, yeah?
Just legitimately have this boxer. This guy right here, is he going to sell out? Probably not. Should you watch him? Probably. But like legitimately, I think that this team, both these teams finding growth is something that you really are hungry for. If you're a Snake fan, and I know there are a lot of Snake fans out there, be it like if you're a Vietnamese and you want to see SOFM succeed, you want to see him come out in internationals, or if you just want to see like the Flandre, the creative man that he is, come out there and perform consistently. We're not seeing that.
No.
I think that's something that's unfortunate. And for us, I talk about draft a little bit, but what we saw in this game was a bit of mix between draft and actual play. Draft and legitimately just communication across the map. While we saw a lot of that just pay tenfold for Vici Gaming, it was Snake making really two crucial mistakes. Not in just the laning phase elements from Mala. I think I've hit that one pretty hard. But specifically, Asura and Maestro, who have been the main performers for this team, making rash calls, looking for the 2v2 when they knew that Ix was bot side and that Jarvan and Mala were nowhere near them. They were just like centered in the mid lane. So it would take about like 10 seconds for them to join.
They were given a lead early in the game as well. That first blood went over the side, not SOFM, went over to the side of Ashura.
Yes. And so like this is great, and they tried to go back bottom lane. That was a good call for SOFM to consistently head back down there. It was more so execution errors and just not being able to set up the flay. These are small things that like it happens from time to time. They're not going to cost you games. What costs you games are crucial team fight mistakes. This one in particular is when it already had, for me, gone way too far in Vici's favor. So when you're going in for this fight, you get to see how hard it is to play out Jarvan versus Poppy in a team fight. Cataclysm, you just get slammed into a wall, right? And they understood that that was going to be the case. I think they didn't see how much damage was going to come on top of Jarvan right off the get-go, because Zoe had already been like buffed up incredibly hard just based off how the laning phase is going, got the kills advantage, already had like a lost chapters working in towards her Luden's Echo. That was a game that accelerated way too quickly for Vici.
And Jay just ran out of control, and that's definitely why he's your MVP. There was not a time where Jay pretty much wasn't on your screen. There's one time where we're focusing on another fight, and Jay got a kill anyway, but that's the stats of a madman.
The attention grabber. Because every single time, you're like, there's a play happening top lane, but I guess we have to roll this replay of him getting a solo kill in the bottom side of the map. 38% damage percentage is the 100 to zeros that he was able to get consistently off his Zoe performance. So well done from him. I think that is the strongest game all year long.
Yeah, it definitely was. And we've seen Jay a couple of times already on the Zoe. This one is going to stand out the most. And considering that Jay said it last game that he's been on the Galio quite a lot, he's been on more of a filling role where they've focused more on the bottom side. It feels like there are multi-lane threats now, especially Path and South when they're doing so well. Jay's doing well. Chilitza was a factor in that game as well.
And that allows him to go out into his comfort zone. This is really funny because out of his comfort zone is being able to play the supportive options to try and support bottom lane and not come out in his laning phase focus. This game, we got to see really him play what he's comfortable doing because everything is starting to work. Chalitza is starting to play well, as you've mentioned. And Ix is actually just, now not only is he invading more aggressively because he has the positive matchups, but he's actually starting to, it really is paying off. Now, suddenly, Jay doesn't have to worry about like multiple people in his lane or having to say, oh, okay, I have to play weak side again, or I don't have the priority mid lane. So there are a lot of questions and worries that Jay has had throughout the split that I think is getting better. Definitely looks a lot better because he's going up against the worst mid laner of the league currently, Mala.
Yeah, that's right.
But in terms of just growth, I'm seeing that growth based off of the 2 to 3 series that we've seen in the recency.
And it's a good time to kind of push that growth forward and show the experience that you've now obtained, because the strength of schedule that you're going to hear all weekend long was a big factor there for Vici Gaming. Their win was slight over Sino Dragon, but everyone else was a top contender.
Yes.
This is now bottom of the pack. You know, we fought our way through V5. It was a loss, unfortunately, which made us lose more confidence against Snake. If they're able to shape up a 2-0 in their home venue, then maybe we do see a middle of the pack team in Vici. Maybe.
It's a big spotlight on their individual players. It really is. That it's not just about team play anymore. That when they go up against teams like LGD eventually. Like a lot of these teams that are not very well known as strong teamwork, but strong players. That's when you go up against that and say, hey, you know what, you have to play well. If you are Jay going up against a Yuki, or you're going up against like Knight, any of these mid laners that are tough every day, you have to work hard. You have to put in 110% to keep even in lane, if not be able to win out. That's hard for Vici Gaming to do currently. So I love the fact that the support around them, Luong's draft to set them up to do well in team fights and in laning phase. And on top of that, it seems like the scrims are working out well for them, because you are seeing a stronger Vici Gaming every week they come back on play.
You are. Let's hone into that draft though, Raz, because I loved it from Vici from the word go. It was the Kalista Thresh that Snake locked in the first time around, but on the side of Vici Gaming, I want to talk more about that last pick in the cannon, which is now 100% win rate.
Nice.
Lies brought it out in the LGD game, and now Chilitza look pretty darn good with it.
I think the meta is definitely, I know this is 9.2, but we're starting to see a lot more Kennen Jace coming out of the top lane. Kennen is just a great split pusher, great team fighter, has great laning phase presence, and the only thing that really takes him out of all of that is the Urgot. Urgot is just amazing against squishies, against tanks, specifically of how much damage he does. The shield is disgusting, and he gets that every W, which is like, thank the Lord in 9.2, that's what got nerfed out.
Oh, 9.4, he just loses everything.
Yes.
You won't see Urgot at all.
Well, you'll still see him because he has a
hope not.
great kit, but not to the higher priority that right now, the only way we will not see an Urgot in the game is through a ban. So 9.2, thank the Lord that we'll be going to 9.4 soon enough.
Yeah.
But that's why you're only really getting to see the Jace, the Vladimir, all these. Technically, Vladimir is also fine in the Urgot, but not in the laning phase. I think that's the bigger question, is that we're starting to see more Vladimir top lanes, but only when you're saying we're going to have a great team fight, period, great late game, but I'm willing to lose it all in the early game because, you know, the Q damage, the auto attack, the percentage damage that Urgot has early on is just difficult for Vladimir to work around.
And on that note, if we do see the Urgot matchup, it's going to be coming from Vici Gaming side. They've blue side once again, so very similar styles of draft if you are Vici Gaming to expect. If the Urgot's not banned out, Chilitza has played a fair amount of games on the Urgot too. Rather a bit of success when you compare it against the rest of the league, but we'll find out, see if it's banned away as we go into our second game of Vici taking on Snake. We admire the draft from Vici. Let's see if it's similar again.
I just love getting to see the calm tone that Luong has every single time he's on the stage. Seems like he's done it before. Obviously, just former top laner of Vici Gaming turned coach, and it seems like he's just easiest job of his life. He's like, if I had myself as my own coach, easy
we would have won.
winnings.
We would have won more. Look, in game one, constructed well. Vici Gaming, they've lost the opportunity of Urgot and Zoe in this second game called Cassiopeia was structured, but this is the first pick. Lissandra, again, denying away from Marla.
I would expect Snake to now go towards, let's say an Alistar Kaisa, because losing out, let's say Urgot, Zoe, as you've already mentioned, the Lissandra is gone from you, and the Aatrox has already been banned. It strips a lot of the options that are priority picks and forces you to say, okay, let's pick up the strongest bottom lane that we can, and the rest are just going to be counter.
Moderately adopted for that bottom lane. They got an early lead, but was unable to capitalize on it further. In the 2v2, naturally, Puff and Southwind just looked that much better. With the Kai'Sa this time, more playmaking potential. You did say the Alistar was open there, Raz.
It would not make sense for me to go anything else. Sure, there are a lot of great lanes into the Alistar, but for Maestro, who's such a prolific Alistar player, it's a great form of engage in a team that's having real struggles finding that point-and-click team fight. So Alistar is a strong option regardless.
This is a shout-out. If you didn't see Jinnu on the ribbon, this is a cheeky little shout-out to what was done in that game. But Vici, this might not be a shout-out. This might be something more. Maybe a callback to the game one of Snake. They do eventually lock in the Varus.
And teams, whenever they go up against Snake in the bottom lane, it's so easy for them because they just go and pick up the strongest counter matchups to either Kaisa, Alistar, or Ezreal, Tahm Kench, all of that. Great picks into Alistar range from Braum, Tahm Kench, to even surprisingly the Galio. So Vici Gaming picking up Galio and Lissandra doesn't actually tell you anything. That's why I love Vici Gaming on blue side. They do hide options, when in Snake, when they're on blue side, you don't get to see them do that. Flandre is the one that picks up the Akali 100% of the time. And in this case, it seems like when the Galio gets picked, it can go mid. But I would expect that to be a Southwind pick as well.
We'll find out as well, because Alessandra has tended to go support in some rare cases. If you've watched EDG Makeup, and we can get it in the second ban phase after the Syndra has been locked in. No mid lane bans, we're instead focusing around that jungle. Camille going to be the first from Snake.
Going Syndra first is saying that, once again, confident that Mala can pick up the Syndra. First Syndra that he's had all split long. And so we keep having these questions of how well can he play if you give him the ball to roll with. Last game, he was having a good laning phase until he played too bloodthirsty, right? So now that he has the Syndra, which is good versus Galio, good for this Alessandra.
But you have to play bloodthirsty.
You do, but you have to play smart. I think that's something that had the issue last game. Last game, he was like, he had no mana, he had a lot of HP, but he had no idea where the enemy jungler is, but he had a good idea that Jarvan wasn't going to be there to save him, and he leaned to the right side of the map for no apparent reason. So I think the decision that Mala has to make is, regardless of the champions he plays, he has to play a lot more conservatively in the lane when he doesn't have his jungler near.
Especially if that is going to be Alessandro or a Galio mid as well. There's a lot of opportunity for playmaking here. And Vici making sure that playmaking stops from Snake's sides first. Olaf, Lee Sin. Look at the 4 jungle bans by both teams. What's left? We got the Sejuani, and what else?
Ix has gone through, like, there are 2 picks. Kayn, SOFM's Kayn is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I expect that to be like a pick that he goes towards, especially now that he knows that he has the engage there from his support and go top lane. Oh my god, does he want to double down?
Oh, why not? SOFM just goes the complete opposite way.
All right, okay, I see you, but guess what? Did well versus the Jarvan last game, and you know will do well versus the Zac Elastic Slingshot. Lock it in, baby.
Yeah, Ix is probably going to just smash this one down. Vici Gaming. Why not? I mean, you don't have a wall this time, but you're just going to deny the slingshot mid-air. Puff does it. All right. Rather, Ix does it. Second game in a row.
Yeah, Puff will pick it up for Ix. And so, like, looking at the composition for Vici Gaming, I'm not concerned about their engage. Because even though you add a Poppy into the mix no matter where she goes, you're like, well, we need engage somewhere. Either in the support position or maybe in top lane if we have a jungle Poppy. But they legitimately have racked their composition up with engage throughout. Even their AD carry has it for them.
Yeah. This is insane again. It's just fun in the sun for Vici Gaming. I love the cannon last pick once more. Chalitza looked great. It was more silent than the others, but that's just because of how good Vici were going.
Beefcakes.
Yeah, Beefcake. They play it safe.
Yeah, well, we'll see how safe this is. I think this is them ramming it in. If you've ever seen a team fight composition, this is literally it. Vici versus Snake. Vici wants to end it with the all-in engage, and Snake are just saying, yeah, you could do that, but we'll still be alive. And our counter engage is going to be a little bit better.
That front line is insane from Snake as well, and if Flandre can get off the ground, if he can survive against Chalitza in that top lane, then that mid game for Flandre will be very, very impactful. Hopefully Marla as well survives, because we're relying on him for most of the damage.
Let me tell you, Asura and Mala have to be sweating, because Asura with the Kaisa, mid-range mage, AD carry that is, and I saw the mid lane pick up here. Whenever you see a Syndra doing very well in lane, or if she's behind, she starts racking up deaths like no one's business.
Doesn't do anything.
Just because if you lose Flash, it was already difficult for a Victor to defend himself, and he had his W. He had the ability to stun you if you were anywhere near him for a long amount of time. For the Syndra, she has her pushback, and if she doesn't position her orb well enough, then obviously that's just, you're coming right back. So essentially what I'm saying is, if you fall behind as Syndra and Kaisa, you're going to get blown up by the cannon regularly.
And we'll see a 25-minute game if Vici get off the ground like they did in that first game. It's come down to this for Snake. If they lose this game, they will be a dead ringer for last, halfway through the split. Snake have always been on the outskirts of playoffs. They've always been on the outskirts towards that bottom side, yes, but it's only one split that they've gone down into the promotion, which doesn't really exist in the LPL because we're ever growing, but this is not going to be a great start for them or a great finish to the midway split.
Just trying to find an answer, honestly.
Yeah, you have to at this point.
Both of these teams trying to figure out what will work. For Snake, it has to be Asura. Get him ahead and play around him. Vici Gaming already had that answer in game 1.
Let's see if Marla can improve on the performance. Game number 2, Asura has the carry pants on as well. It's Snake or die. game number 2. There's some Rogue Warriors fans in the audience. Our newer team's getting more love in 2019, and once upon a time, Vici Gaming, and that is a quiet chant. But against V5 here in Shanghai the other day, support's growing.
Yeah, growing and growing. You love to see it, especially when there are new players on the roster. So for Vici Gaming in particular, you know, they don't have the big names as they used to. They don't have the Mbengis. They don't have the Easy Hoons. They don't have the, I guess, the Swift and Cocos.
Yeah.
Just outline new players, new success for them in terms of like the new wins that they haven't seen that the last few years now. So it's always great to see the fans really come behind them.
It's going to be an interesting start though, Raz Snake. SOFM actually starting with the Raptors with help from Flandre. Chilita is going to get this information across. His mana's not going to regen in time, and Chilita sees him walking up.
Wow. Flandre is a real brother. He knows that he's actually going to be behind him a bit in this lane. He's going to lose level 2 naturally to Chilita.
Yep.
So he's saying, well, it's time to, I might as well help you. But the fact that he's willing to make that large of a trip, because the natural starting point for Zach is Raptors, he can do that. There are a few junglers who can do that. Means that SOFM is going to be really grateful for that. Hopefully he pays it forward.
Yeah, because this lane constantly going to be pushed up. Chilita has opted in for the Klepto top. And look at that. If you run Klepto top, that's what you want to see. You've already got 2 gold bags in your pocket after 2 hits on the enemy champion.
Just cash it in. RNG. Don't sell them back at base. No. I want to see what you get.
That's a safe measure. I mean, it's like a 70-30.
I think it's more favorable in the RNG end lane if you just use it. Ooh. As you can tell, this is a really good lane for Syndra. She just has a lot of great lane matchups just because of the outright long range that she has. And you never get put in a situation where the Aftershock gets procced because, you know, it's never be like if it's a LeBlanc versus Lissandra matchup that we see so often.
Yeah.
LeBlanc has to proc the Aftershock if she wants to be able to trade. Never happens here in the Syndra matchup.
Mala able to push out the lane means he can help with the top side scuttle. Bottom lane just roamed up Puff and Southwind. You see the early priority on Scuttle Crab. Difference is Gold's going to go over to SOFM versus Puff and Southwind who pick it up, but it's always been about the bottom lane, so you have to look at the favorable trades where you can.
Yeah, you're just maximizing the pressure that you have in these lanes. Ike's having the ability to rally his laners to always get in vision makes it so he can make the better decision, or at least have more options. Ooh, this is rough.
Yeah, that's a good scat of the week. Jay has to burn through all of his corrupting potions this early. Mala doesn't have enough mana, though, to continue the trades.
Remember, this is the same position Mala was in the last game. He has more HP potions because he went Doran's Ring very naturally, has still the 2 potions that he has, but is going to be running low on mana in comparison to Lissandra. Now, thankfully, Lissandra has mana issues at times. He's going to have to go back to base, so this is a much more aggressive response. You can do this while Victor can't. So it's fun that Mala said, okay, just give me the ball so I can do this 1v1.
Remember in the last game as well, Victor was still able to force him out, so it doesn't end there for Snake, but you're right for Mala, much more control here, and after that back, Boots picked up. Scratch that. The pots were sold for a Dark Seal. No, hang on. There we go. Pots and a Dark Seal. Finally, the 3rd buy for Mala, thinking about it.
Yeah, you know, long thoughts. You always got to get through them. Do I want to focus on the lanes a little bit more? Still 100% on the boots that he had there. What I do love in this is that he can come back into the lane. If he starts accruing kills, then obviously that is going to stack up the Dark Seal. And you just love the ability to just immediately purchase that into Maji's Soul Stealer. So this just means that there's some incentive for SOFM to actually come mid, in the case that it's actually difficult for Ike's to actually ever have that impact.
Yeah, counter game going to be a little bit difficult. Pixel Rush will drop down. That's important considering bottom side. Look at that first dragon there. It is an Infernal. And if bottom lane is still able to get that push in, Puff and Southwind could possibly help Ike's get an early objective.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for Snake and SOFM to be able to get any lasting control there. Not only are they having bot and top shoved in, but mid is really prone to getting ganked here. So Vici Gaming, yeah, they can just come for it any time. Depends if SOFM can get this.
Bad timing for Vici, though. The flash forward body bomb there. Elastic slingshot right back in. That's the 80 carry dead, and Jay comes down with the teleport, glacial path away. That's exactly what he has to do, and that's a big win for Snake.
Huge. Fast enough to get the kill, so Jade has no impact in this. So we were talking about SOFM needing to get this impact here. If they want to have some say over Dragon, that'll do it.
And Ike's just has to sit back and wait. There's no mana on the AD carry of Ashura. Maestro does have the CC though, so not favorable. Marla able to push back out, get the control ward. Ike's has been spotted in the bottom lane. Power to Snake here. With that Klepto lead in the top side of the map, now gold is pretty much even after the kill.
It's nice to see here for Snake, just zoning in on the bottom lane. That used to be the LPL special, have a lane getting shoved into you, bring your jungler back bottom lane. Now, in this instance, it was just super fast to blow him up. But if you had survived a little bit longer, then you can get that blood rush of a chase there. But nah, very easy. Slingshot wasn't even necessary to start it all off because the headbutt pulverizer was that effective.
Maybe if the teleport didn't come through from Jay, there could have been potential for the support, but Southwind is already out after the combo. SOFM wants to make that combo a deluxe.
What?
And come back down. There's no vision. This time Snake have prioritized bottom side vision. And it's working out to their favor. They are waiting for Puff and Southwind to re-enter lane.
It's funny. I mean, the Jarvan, there were issues in how it started off, right? But this is just extended range now. If you had problems enacting the whole engaged bottom lane with Jarvan and Thresh, this time around you have it.
Oh, they're so confident that clearing the ward wasn't going to happen.
Oh!
Left bounce doesn't connect. Double headman pulverize as well. Southwind just turns it back around. SOFM going to be pushed out as well. Almost bursted down. Saved by Alistar, but misexecuted by Snake.
You rarely see misexecution on the Zac play. The fact that that happened was so unfortunate. That would have been a kill onto Puff at the very least. You can't make those mistakes if you're trying to have repeated moments bottom lane. Because you're foregoing your Krugs. You said, I'm not going Krugs. I'm coming back bottom lane for this gank. So now he's going to have to try and keep up pace with Ike.
It's not like he can just go back down. Marlon does get Scatter the Weak, but no kill pressure just yet. Not enough orbs out for Marlon. But back to that jungle, SOFM did have to back. So pacing in the favor of Ike's, who has caught up in CS. Now in the bottom lane, level 6 on the Poppy. Ready to whirl up the copter again.
Let me tell you how hard it is to gank this lane with a Poppy Galio. At least Galio has flash here, so it's still possible, but I don't see it happening.
We'll just clear vision out. Remember, still an Infernal Drake. If you forgot what I said a couple of minutes ago, well, remember this. The Infernal is 10%, as we all know. And both the teams are going to desperately want it, considering composition-wise. So FM spotted out by Ward. That deep control ward, game after game from Vici.
Keeps happening. Ike's has really just been, putting the hurt down. Because that one, sure, it gets cleared out fairly quickly. That's one that you'll be able to catch every time. If you see it once, you'll have a good indication that it's going to be placed again. That's just the tempo base, so he's going to come up top side again. But you now have vision that SOFM is going to be bottom side, stay bottom side for his full rotation, and you're seeing. There we go. Ike's invade aggressively with his duo lane. There should be another blue buff take.
Again, game 1, game 2, similarities from Vici Gaming. Now, there was a fight here from game 1, but this time Snake don't opt in. The blue buff is just given over, and they back away.
They're always positioned safely, too. So Puff, Southwind, and Jade, if the elastic slingshot comes over, it's not going to catch them. It's going to catch Ike's, but the rest of the members are going to be in a great position to team fight. So there was no interest from Snake to want to take that.
The only difference is that Chalitza does not have teleport. So the bonus, of course, with Flandre taking Spellbook into the top lane, that teleport is more of a possibility for him.
Good control ward here, but the ward to catch him come through the lane. So unfortunate for Snake because this can actually be just set up. So Ike's is in the opposite side of the map, so there is no position where they can come in for a counter gank. But it seems like SOFM has been on CCTV the entire time.
Really good vision game from Vici. This is the difference this week. That Vici Gaming have put more priority into their vision. We wouldn't have seen a bottom lane war that had the foresight that the bottom lane, yes, it will be controlled, it will be heavily prioritized by Snake, but no gaps in vision. And even this one here, maybe there is one gap here as the Infernal Drake's been started out. Trader's Rift Herald
here. So here's the thing. When you are so confident in the vision control you've placed down, you can miss these dragon runs. So there is no way that Vici would know that this is happening. But SOFM has been bot side for so long, And Kennen and Lissandra have had so much control within their own lane. At the very least, Kennen has. This can be done. They even knew that Vici were going to be, or at least they even knew that their bottom lane was going to be coming up to rotate. So not only do they have the rotation to take topside faster, but they were able to take the Rift Herald. So this is going to be a momentum play. I wonder how far Vici Gaming are going to go with this.
So Southwind is level 6, and if we're talking about momentum, that Galio ult is going to be key to creating it. Flandre still has the wave clear, so with the bottom lane rotating top as well, Flandre should be able to back here and match Chalitza in the bottom lane. Momentum still in favor of Vici, but you can see Ix is coming to that top lane and looking to match that top lane turret.
Here we go.
Hidden back in the end, actually ulting in. Flandre doesn't have enough mana. Puff is caught out. Galio with a one-man ult, two-man pulverize, ults in. Ashura killer instinct. Puff goes golden. Ix is here, cops her away. The AD carry still doing damage, but all the way in. SOFM dive, finds the first one. Let's bounce, flashed away from as well. Teleport in from Vici Gaming. Snake commit 5 members top and get a kill.
They had the time to just bring the members topside. Because I thought that Ix was going to pick up Rift Herald, come straight top lane, and try and pick up as much turret plating as possible, maybe the tower as well. Doesn't matter if Sion is alone for the play, he's not going to be able to defend it. But they wait long enough. Ix takes a base to come right back, and so that leaves an opening for Flandre to just go for the ultimate engage. And you don't have Tahm Kench this game, so Southwind's not going to be there to protect you.
That's right, and Southwind didn't use ultimate but burned his flash, so that flash thought now not really a possibility. 0-2 Virus sitting there for Vici Gaming. The difference this game is that the bottom lane is off to a rocky start, and that Kai'Sa suddenly is a bit of an insurance claim here from Snake.
Yeah, could get to her second item all the more easier. So take a look at this. It was actually Ix on his own jungle camp. He wasn't even looking to come straight back top lane. So the fact that they were comfortable with the lane assignments, not with the play so they can get the Rift Herald going, I think is a crucial mistake. And Snake had the opportunity to just be able to pick up on it.
Also SFM just between vision as well, just finds his way in for an easy slingshot. So now momentum in favor of Snake this time. And you asked how that play was going to go, Raz, but Vici Gaming never got a chance to execute it. The Rift Herald is still available. Jay, that's just annoying. He's going to have to Glacier Path away. And good timing to avoid Scatter the Weak.
Slows down his base. That being said, Snake have to respond to this.
Maestro's over the side, has Hex Flash, if you can say it properly, available. And will not find Ike, so Rift Herald's here. Big wave here from Vici Gaming, but they're getting collapsed on. Turret gets the trade, but no gold from the gold plating actually touching Vici Gaming. A bit of a wasted Rift Herald push, unfortunately.
You always wonder why they don't, because like they knew the two members were in the mid lane. Only reason why they wouldn't want to commit is if they want Kennen to keep accruing the gold bottom side, who's been freely hitting this tower, by the way. So this has been super beneficial for Chalitza, but for the top side of the map, they haven't quit pushing what I would say is their true strong side of the map. Puff and Southwind, even though they've fallen behind, they've only really fallen behind because after the first gank bottom lane, they didn't want to reprioritize them. I think that Puff has been put in a pretty difficult position in this game.
Especially since Puff in the first game was just such core members of their roster, considering the Enchanted Crystalaros were pretty keen to start off the fights, or at least end them. But in this game, it's more of the carry pants on, if you do wear pants.
It just slows their game down. If you have a composition that's supposed to be online level 6, and it's supposed to be, like, have such a strong mid game, to say now their composition is going to be benefiting Chalitza early and mid game, you're not going to be chipping Dan Tower that well because, you know what, Sign is actually going to be doing well to soak up damage and hold his turrets true. So, turret hasn't been taken down 14 minutes into the game. And it's really just about Snake being given opportunities to look to get skirmishes top lane.
That's right, they're still trying to create some more. I was going to say before that for Flandre, able to hold off with that Righteous Glory, but there is a 1,200 gold gap in the top lane, and that's just Klepto. That's pretty much stabilizing the composition of Vici Gaming right now and keeping that gold dead even, whereas the bottom lane is skyrocketing. Ashura 1,200 ahead in his own right. Kai'Sa's found her window in. And there's an Ocean Drake coming up as well. Think about how Vici interact. This one might be crucial.
This is dangerous for Vici. Mid lane, Jay does not have mana.
Smite it away, stolen by SOFM, and then just walk out.
They have control for so long now. As long as they recognize that Jay has to base here, they can take top lane turret for free. Right now, this is a beautiful positioning from Snake to realize that Jay was struggling for so long, no teleport too, so he can't come back from the map quickly. That's going to be either top lane turret or freely, as you can see, Mala's just going at the mid lane turret. If they can take mid lane turret right here, then that gives over the top side of the map completely to a Snake.
And Ike's is just being caught out. Slingshot there. Why was that the left bounce? I'm not sure. Scout of the week. Unleash power should come through from Marla. He has it available, but they're going to leave it up to the bottom lane. Kill goes over to Maestro. Interesting from Zach, though. Raz?
He's a styling man. You know how it is.
I mean, he had Slingshot available, but why not?
I will say this. Think of it this way. If you're using your ultimate, you are untargetable in the air. And what's your concern? That if you slash the Slingshot over, you create a shadow. Ike just says, what are you doing? I'm going to use my steadfast presence, and I'm going to rock away. That literally had to be his only concern, was that he wanted to get close to her and start the fight.
That was the...
But he doesn't want to get stopped in the process.
That was like the 5,000 IQ Zach ult. Just, this is not what it's for, but this is what I'm going to make it for.
He didn't even get the chance to use steadfast presence. I think he was more consumed that an ultimating Zach was on top of his head. But the theory I thought was really funny. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a cool idea.
SOFM's got the experience behind him, but I'm not going to question too much. He does pick up the Ocean Drake off the back of that as well. We're getting a plethora of dragons. 3 Amigas reference. So 2 elementals already in the back of Snake. And they're 2k gold ahead. So the cannon in the top side of the map has 2 items. He was the one that was snowballing, or at least keeping somewhat of the lead for Vici Gaming. But really there has been no lead, no response in this second game for VG.
And Flandre's put in a position where he does have to consistently ulti to lane if he wants to keep his tower out. He didn't decide to do it then. Okay, there we go. Because if he didn't, he just loses tower here. I still think he waited too long, so he's in a really tough position where Kennan's just going to take it on next wave. So that just means that Flandre can't use his ultimate for any team fight that happens top lane. So makes it easy for Vici to end up picking up that wave. So it's actually an advantage that's being picked up bottom lane that makes Vici all the more confident for the top lane turret top side. So like communication is looking really solid for this team.
Yeah. Even though Chalice's stuck in the bottom lane for now, the rest of Vici will use that to get the top side. SOFM is by himself with Maestro behind and mobility boots. Vici grouping up now. And around this top side, SOFM you can see still looking for a pick, being a level up. This is annoying though. Chalisa no longer does any damage to Flandre. Actually, Flandre does more to him.
Yeah, but he's getting some fat stacks, some real cash, you know?
There's some fat meat in the bush as well. Maestro.
Oh no, here's the damage. I want to see this one.
Boom! This feels good. Snake actually sitting in the brush in the lapse of vision. Southwind gonna get jumped on, get the shield of Duran, but doesn't hit SOFM. You can see the theory behind that one, but he's forced to flash. In the jungle, Ike has found himself Ashura, but Ashura is almost 2 items strong, so Ike can't take the fight.
Ike's losing that much HP. Once again, puts Snake in another fantastic position. Look at Flandre here. Has his ultimate ready, and he's going to be rotating for a potential fight around red buff. So this is just great positioning that Snake have. Even, I would say, exacerbated by the fact that Chalice cannot control side lane any longer. It's not a split push Kennen, it's a team fight Kennen. The fact that they've slowed the game down to pick up as much gold as possible. Look, sure, Kennen has a lot of gold on him, but they need to be putting themselves in a position where he can get to Asura and Mala in the backline, and they, funny enough, set themselves up to fail because they didn't prioritize Puff's push on top side. So,
yeah,
I would say right now for Vici Gaming, when the next dragon comes up, or if they inevitably go around Baron, it's going to be very hard to enact their composition against a pretty healthy lineup on Snake.
So maybe it needs to be Ike who starts the fight, because we haven't seen the Predator. I don't even think we've seen him proc this game, maybe once. And Poppy to start the fight. There's double TP up and available if Jay and Chalitza sit in the side lane. At this point, still clearing out vision. Vici Gaming sitting as a 4-man hole. Make that 5. The Chalitza now moving in.
I'll say this, if they move for a pick onto like the primary targets of Mala in mid lane or Asura, they insta-win the fight because there are so little damage on the side of Snake. But if they go for SOFM and set up for the Galio ultimate on top of Ike's, then I really worry about this composition moving forward because the 2 items of, you know, Rage Blade and Sterix, oh man, Storm Razors, there we go.
Okay,
has been picked up from Asura, and he's going to be doing great front to back.
Oh, not again. This time Ike's actually does secure it though. And Snake will not play that front to back team fight, actually ulting back down to the wave. This is the third time we've seen Flandre ult for the wave. Feels good to get the CS, but realistically, Chalitz is moving to the mid lane with it down.
And these are the only openings that I really see for Vici Gaming. If they can use the push that, you know, Sion trying to pick up bottom lane, but Kennen is looking for a top, like a mid lane team fight, that's something to watch out for.
Snake negating that. Great camera work.
I think Zach has his Warmogs here. I think that's the only thing I want to see. Ooh, no, just picking up back control wards.
Should be close for SOFM. Still has a relative lead due to Snake naturally being ahead this game.
I would say both these teams recognize that there's a lot of AP on both sides. It's much better for Snake because they have so much HP on their targets. So like Alistar, Zac, and Sion are so confident to push in with Warmogs and then the later magic resist that you'll get now that Flandre's already picked up the core Righteous Glory. So if you are now Kennen or Lissandra, very low damage mages that try and set up for a team fight, they just will really struggle to get the fight going as the longer it gets.
Well, it's going to start off now. Jay's been caught out close. Path can't be taken. Can he ult? Yes, he can, but Azura's waiting over the side. Doesn't find the last shot. Instead, it's Marla who gets it. Scout of the week will go wide. The V there onto Southwind. Back over to Dragon. Snake continuously getting picks. Might be slow, but it's working.
I think we're going to have a real tough game for Vici Gaming. And the ultimates from Poppy are going to be more and more crucial. Because as I said earlier, the value of a Poppy ultimate really depends on how many people you get, who you get, the primary targets. If Zac is out of the fight really early on and they were able to get Mala, then perfect. Like suddenly, you know, you have a gold advantage in a moment when you're like 2k gold down, right? In this specific moment in a team fight. But if they don't, and if it's just a raw 5v5, they don't have the damage to actually threaten the front line. And the back line is just so safe. They've had their summoners up for so long.
2 items on Asura. He's pretty much 1 full item ahead, considering that Puff still doesn't have his second. Remember, 9.2, ladies and gentlemen, I'll remind you every time, because that's why we're seeing the Storm Razors first on the Kaiser, straight into the Quincy's Rage Blade. A small bounty on his head as well. Every lane looking pretty good here for Snake. Good recovery of game number 1, considering that Marla, we said he needed to have consistent laning phase. We said he needed to have somewhat of a leader advantage or keep it still in comparison to the first game.
And he's done just that. Not only is he forced Jay out of lane in this game throughout, but he hasn't been in a position vulnerable enough to get picked off by Southwind and Ikes. I think what we've seen from Mala is a very strong performance. Sure, there's not a lot of pressure because it is a jungle Poppy, but I thought that he recognized the issue that he had in game 1, and he's improved upon it.
We're still waiting for that engage for Marlon. Good scatter the week
go.
again, so the improvements there as West Bend slingshots in. We'll find the elastic slingshot on. Ike, never mind, that's not what we were looking for. The sign engages in. It's support, Galio. Southwind gets disrupted, destroyed, deleted. Ike's is next there. The second skin makes magic. And Snake get 2 more. The 0-6 game now leads us to the big purple worm.
I love that SOFM was just playing it slowly, saying, I'm not going to jump on top of you, Poppy, but I'm going to jump close enough to your own ward to bring you into it. So Snake are playing it slow, successful, no jungle and support. Vici should not contest this, but they're feeling desperate.
Chalidza wants to ult in, denied. He pops it so darn early as well.
Oh,
Only finds Maestro Jay in such a bad position. And this is all going wrong for Vici Gaming. Breaking at the seams. Snake take Baron.
That's on the highlight reel that has like that one view on Reddit. You know, the one that's just made to shame someone when they go in for a Kennen ultimate. You're like, oh no, I don't want to see this one again. Feels bad.
Yeah.
Great for Maestro, though. He, of course, expected the Kennen to be looking to do that. But take a look at this. It's like, yeah, you placed this ward great. How about you kiss it? And then just this as well. Look at how Jay gets... Oh, no, it was actually Poppy getting popped up on the outskirts of it. And she already received the damage on the initial portions of the team fight. So, yeah, easy kill there from Sion.
Now, I ask you all out there, what would you prefer, a Sion or a Kennen here? A lot of you at the moment would say Kennen, but Sion is just still so darn tanky. He's had that Warmogs for so long. And speaking of Warmogs, SOFM's picked up one as well.
And remember the segment that I had to begin with. What I would rather see from Flandre the Victor. I would love to see the Scion. I want to see something that protects who has been your consistent performer in Asura. Asura has been such a strong team fighter. Just an overall, you know, player. You give him Kai'Sa, sure, Kai'Sa's just an overpowered bonus. Ezreal Pixie's had highlight moments. So for me, if you want to play to win, play easier looking compositions. Scion may be behind early, but like Whippo said in Euphoria,
yeah,
sure, cool, cute, you're 20 CS ahead. Look at all the sacks of gold that you have. Like, you feel good yet? Because the team fights ain't looking good for you, buddy.
Flandre entering the fight was a big impact there. He's got level 16. He'll be entering it again soon. The dive now happening. Here comes Scion in the back end. Goes past everyone. Scion gets absolutely nothing. Chalices into the back line here. Everything for Snake doesn't line up. Hero's entrance. Maestro's down. Ashura's still alive, however. And Chaliza has to get out of there. He's healed back up, but look at Snake's health bars. Puff is still full health, and Southwind into a 2-for-1 trade in the end. But it's still dicey here for Snake.
Puff can't clear that wave. They're calling his bluff on that one. Walk forward, the Warmogs is coming into effect, and look at the damage on Southwind.
SOFM, Flandre back to half. Southwind can't clear waves, Puff neither. This is going to be the inhibitor dropping Scatter the Weak just a bit short, but Chalitza, his ult was very impactful in that fight. Almost cleans house.
Just take a look at Scion. That was a hard fought fight, but then he's out for like 5 seconds. 111 HP, another 111. It's just that for such a composition that's struggling, they just need to be able to pick it up immediately. But it's Snake that has all the vision control, that they can just do whatever they want underneath this tower. Asura, just take a look at him. Picks up the turret, moves up, plays back, and he's able to just wait for the storm to come through from Chalice before he finally dives in. This is probably the most safest and secure Asura has felt throughout the split.
You're just trying to get rid of Flandre at that point. You just like, this tank is just so annoying that Scion doesn't die. And Vici Gaming do. Another elemental there for Snake. 7,000 gold up in this second game. There's an Infernal there too. And with that inhibitor broken down, Baron buff's going to expire and come up again very shortly. This is rough for Vici, but you saw there was a way back in for that game. Jay almost caught out there, was able to find the backline, but it was Chalitza on the cannon, who's almost level 16. We need that Slicing Maelstrom to be its full capacity here, so Rabadon's is needed as well.
You just have to get creative here. Your Vici Gaming, you have a nice amount of control wards in your inventory. I would say you already see them pretty deep in their right side jungle. I want to move that top side. I would say one control ward, just outside your base. Currently where Puff is standing, like 2 meters to the left. Something so where Lissandra can actually try and look for a flank topside if Asura is trying to get some turret damage. Because right now you just need to look for a hard dive. You need to hard dive Asura and Mala. If you don't get enough damage down to kill him, tough luck. That was a tough game anyways. At this point in time, I don't know what the Colonel has to say, but
he's a carbon.
He's doing the math. He's like 99% doesn't sound right. 99.1? I don't know. It's a little bit too rough. I feel like sometimes the Colonel comes out not wanting to hurt people's feelings.
I feel like the Colonel is just some guy behind going, you know what, I'm going to disguise my thoughts and stats. It's not always right.
Are you second guessing the formula?
I am. I don't think it's 100%. I also think we find out in about 40 seconds. I'm pretty sure it comes out in 30 minutes.
Look, there are a lot of naysayers out there when it comes down to the secret formula that the Colonel has.
He's been hiding it for years.
But you just have to recognize that you don't have all the secrets to life. You don't know what the formula is. Just accept it, all right? The Colonel does hard math, and you can't take that degree away from him. He's gone to university. He's done all the hard work. Accept it, goddammit.
Not only can he make great tasting chicken, he can also drop down the hardest of math.
He's a mathematician at heart.
I think Vici need to drop down some of that hard math. They have to figure out how they get to this back line. 6,000 gold behind. Scaling now a huge factor as Ashura has picked up his 4th item in the Mercurial Scimitar. And look how behind Puff is. That's annoying when you can just pull red buff over the wall and Ashura can take it down in one fell swoop.
Lovely. Reminds me way back when Syndra first came out, and the most creative level ones you could ever have is like a CLG invade when Link has like the Syndra pick, and it's like, all right, I'll rank W level 1, go into the blue buff. That's our blue buff now. That's it. They're buffless.
I always enjoy seeing the blue buff just run back after a failed attempt and pulling it away, but it's definitely more towards this meta, more towards 2019. Baron's back up, ladies and gentlemen. We now wait with bated breath to see if Snake can secure this one out.
That's all we've really been waiting for. Both of these teams at the moment are not confident enough to not drop the ball when they have an insurmountable lead. So Baron buff is the way to just close the game. Sometimes, you know, if you're watching like an XL series out there, you're like, maybe 2 Elder Dragons, maybe we need a few more, a third one. Maybe ask the right designers to make the third Elder Dragon just an insta
quadruple,
win.
Yeah.
No, just make it an instant win. The moment you take the third Elder Dragon, the game ends right there. Your Nexus just blows up, just like mind blown. It's it. Just for some of these teams, that's what you really need to be able to pick up victories in a comfortable manner. But for Snake right now, you can see it, they're setting it up.
I just love to see that Earth Dragon come in, SOFM. He does find the stretching strike, but nothing to connect. Now for Snake, just waiting in the river. Getting the scuttle here was beneficial for Vici Gaming. They know they're not right in front of the Baron pit. Drop down the Redemption, now they know they're not in Baron itself, so there's only a couple of places left to guess, and Vici don't have to check.
Well, the Scuttle Crab is just going to make it harder, or easier. The idea that you think you have vision, here we go. Like, they don't know that there are members inside, or maybe they do, and Flandre is just playing the largest bouncer you've ever seen in a nightclub.
Yeah, he just does not die. You want to get in.
Oh, no.
Not this time. Poppy Hammer hits Zach. That's not what you want. Ike's now with the Glacial Path all the way in. No one takes it. Vici Gaming lose their jungler. They just have to sacrifice life as they've got Baron, they've got Death, and now they want top lane turret.
Look, at this point, who are you afraid of? Ike's is down and out. He is the only member that can really make a team fight look exciting or unpredictable. Now you're saying maybe a Galio, but he's a support Galio with no AP, no real HP as well. So goodbye, tower.
There's no way you can test this for Vici Gaming. Chilitz is just waiting for that perfect ultimate, but I fear it might not exist here. Inhibitor 1, Inhibitor 2. Count your chickens before they hatch. They're hatching damn fast. Maybe it's counting your eggs, doesn't matter. We're counting something here. Snake get 2, they're out. And Infernal Dragon there. That's going to be a double Infernal.
Look, this is where the team fight stops. Hey, stop it, Flandre. What are you trying to even do? Say, you know, this shield, yeah, I just want it to go.
You ever seen a weightlifting competition?
Yes.
Yeah, so that guy that you just like really wins. You know, his muscles are so big, you can't even see where his biceps connect to his shoulders.
Well, this should be the game-ending team fight here. Vici have to stop this from going down. They don't want 3 inhibitors. They have all their members ready.
Well, there's no vision from Snake around that side. They have to play it pretty safe here as well, just clearing out some of the vision from Vici Gaming. Chilitz still too far behind, but they're waiting for that flank. Ult doesn't land there from Flandre. They get the inhibitor turret, but Vici Gaming defense still continues. Stretching strike again onto South when they do pull him back. He's able to escape it. Scatter the Weeks there. Elastic Slingshot doesn't connect. Path is free, hitting here. Watch Jay there. Glacial Path, 2-man route down. Will he survive long enough? Pops the ultimate, but Chilitz hasn't ulted just yet. We're waiting for this cannon, but Jay's already dead. Flandre's back in with the ultimate. Ike drops down. The 4-man ult does not mean a thing there for Chilitz, and Snake, unfortunately, are way too far ahead. Otherwise, there was a perfect chance. But for Ashura, he picks up the quadra kill, and that'll do it. Snake have just blitzed through this game, smashed down Vici Gaming, and we didn't think we'd see it after game number 1, but Snake take us to a 3rd.
That was very clean, and also very oppressive from a very tanky lineup. At that point, if you saw that team fight back, and if you didn't know how far behind the team of Vici Gaming were, you're like, my god, Lissandra ultimate, that was beautifully well played, right in the back line. Cannon ultimate, oh my goodness, 4 people. A 4-man taunt with Galio. That was as good as you can make it. But you take a look back, and just looking at the composition, compositionally, that is so hard. It's impossible to come back when you have like the cannon damage, the Lissandra damage, very low damage mages is supposed to set you up to succeed. Yep. And a Varus that just scales off as the game goes on against a very beefy lineup.
It's rough when, especially since Chilitz, all his damage is just into Flandre. It doesn't really mean a thing here in this graph. So if Vici's top laner didn't get that big 4-man ulti earlier on in the game, well, Ashura's didn't make a difference getting it later in the game as well. Quadra kill to finish out for Ashura though, and the bottom lane of Snake. Now that's something. We're getting there. We're definitely getting there for Snake.
Yeah, they came in hot. I think that usually this is when people come out and blame it all on the draft for Vici Gaming, and we had the discussion that their draft had been so good for so long. I will say that I'll give them a pass in this one just because this composition is supposed to do well, level 6, really early on. And a lot of times they had great push in both bot and top lane. Sure, they lost out the early kill bot lane when SOFM paid a few visits, but I thought that the decision that they made, that they thought was right, to give as much gold and pressure to Kennen, but then walk away from all the pressure that Varus was supposed to have in that matchup.
Yeah.
So they didn't get the tower until really later on in the game, and at that point you have too slim of a window to really make your composition count. So I think with a very slim window to succeed, they did not play to it at all. They thought they could play a much longer game, which is fine if you have a split pushing AD cannon, but that's never going to happen.
No.
So I think they just really needed to recognize
And especially if you're not going up against 3 tanks as well, probably a lot easier to execute that composition towards that later game or towards that point in the game. There is some viability of a comeback. I want to kind of hone in on that bottom lane again because it was a steal of the blue buff. It was deep vision once again. Vici Gaming felt like they were almost waiting for that same mistake from Snake and that they wouldn't learn in game number 2.
And I think they were, once again, Snake could take a step back and say, we don't have to take this fight. That's different from last game where really Mala was a big hole in that one. This time around, Mala had an excellent laning phase, and I think in game 3, it's going to be a test to see in the early laning phase, Jay versus Mala, who comes out ahead.
I think Jay as well especially needs to step up to the plate again. Maybe we see that Zoe, maybe we don't, who knows? That's why we have game 3 to show it right after this.